You had no regard for the lifelong mental harm that your criminal acts inflicted on your then 2, 4, and 6-year-old sons.
Convicted murderer Brian Walshe is now sentenced to life in prison for the murder of his wife and the mother of their 3 children.
A judge officially sentencing Brian Walshe just before 10 o'clock for the murder of his wife, Anna, whose body has never been found.
It always begins with the ordinary. A quiet house, a calendar full of plans, a woman who believes that if she just keeps going, everything will eventually hold together. Anna Walshe was 39 years old, a mother of 3, an immigrant who came to America with ambition stitched into her spine. She believed in work, in marriage, in endurance. She believed that love, when given enough patience, could survive almost anything. Friends described her as disciplined, gentle, relentlessly responsible. The kind of woman who carried the weight of a household without complaint. The kind who woke before dawn to answer emails, pack lunches, coordinate schedules, and still show up smiling. But beneath that smile was fatigue. Anna had learned early how to survive pressure. She grew up understanding sacrifice. In her mind, struggle was not failure. It was proof that she was doing something right. And so, when marriage became heavy, when conversations shortened, when apologies stopped coming, she didn't leave. She adapted. Her husband, Brian, was complicated, charming when he wanted to be, fragile in ways he never admitted, dependent in ways that embarrassed him. Anna became the stabilizer, the provider, the silent problem solver. At night, when the house finally slept, she sometimes stared at the ceiling and wondered why love felt lonelier than being alone. But she never said that out loud, because Anna believed in keeping families together. She believed in pushing through seasons. She believed in New Year's resolutions. And as another year approached, she stood at the edge of something she didn't yet recognize as danger. Before the story goes any further, before the lies, the crime, the headlines, because stories like Anna's disappear every day. If you are listening, if you believe stories like this matter, then stay, subscribe, share, speak her name, because silence is what allows tragedies like this to repeat. The clock moved closer to midnight. The year was ending, and Anna Walshe had no idea it would be the last year anyone would ever hear her voice. Brian Walshe did not look like a monster. That is always the most unsettling part. He looked like a husband, a father, a man struggling to keep up with expectations. When Anna met him, he spoke with confidence. He promised stability. He promised partnership. But promises have a way of eroding quietly. Brian's life carried fractures, legal trouble, financial instability, unfinished ambitions. He resented Anna's success even as he relied on it. She earned more. She advanced faster. She carried responsibility more easily. And resentment, when left unspoken, becomes something darker. There were moments of warmth, photos of family trips, laughter at birthdays, holidays that looked normal from the outside, but behind closed doors, the balance was off. Anna handled everything. Brian avoided everything. When Brian faced legal consequences for fraud, Anna stood beside him. When finances tightened, she worked harder. When tension filled the room, she learned to shrink herself. Texts from friends went unanswered. Conversations became surface level. Her world narrowed to survival. Sometimes she questioned herself. Was she asking for too much? Was this just marriage? Was endurance the same thing as love? She told herself it was temporary. Brian told himself he was entitled. And somewhere in that imbalance, something dangerous took root. As New Year's Eve approached, Anna prepared for a work trip. She packed efficiently, as always. She kissed her children. She reminded Brian of schedules and responsibilities. She did not sense fear. She sensed relief. because distance, even temporary, felt like oxygen. Anna believed she was holding her family together. Brian believed he was losing control. And the difference between those beliefs would soon become fatal. January 1st, 2023, a date that began like any other morning. Brian would later say Anna left early, that she was headed to the airport, that nothing seemed unusual. But details matter. Investigators would notice the contradictions almost immediately. Timelines that shifted, statements that didn't align, gaps that couldn't be explained away. Anna never boarded a plane. She never checked in. She never arrived. Her phone went silent. Hours passed, then a day, then panic. Friends reached out, co-workers called, no response. Brian waited to report her missing. That delay would echo loudly later. Investigators retraced steps, cameras, transactions, movement patterns, and as they reconstructed the day, the story Brian told began to collapse. This wasn't a disappearance, it was an erasure. The house was too clean, trash bins too recently emptied, the normal chaos of family life absent. Somewhere between midnight celebrations and morning routines, Anna vanished, and the man who claimed to love her was the only person who knew why. As investigators closed in, the question sharpened. What happened inside that house when no one was watching? And how far would someone go to escape the life they felt trapped inside? Technology remembers what people try to forget. Search histories don't lie. Security cameras don't blink. Investigators uncovered Brian's late-night internet searches. Chilling, deliberate, methodical. How to dispose of a body. How long before DNA degrades. How to clean blood. These weren't panicked questions. They were calculated. Surveillance footage showed him purchasing cleaning supplies, disposing of trash across multiple locations, moving with purpose. Not grief, not confusion, precision. Each discovery tightened the narrative. This was not an accident, not a moment of rage. This was planning. Meanwhile, friends of Anna spoke about her exhaustion, her quiet strength, her fears that never made it into police reports because she never imagined they would need to. Brian's lies unraveled in public view, and with every unraveling thread, the truth became inevitable. Anna had trusted the wrong person with her life. The arrest came with shock, but not surprise. By then, the evidence was overwhelming. Courtrooms filled with silence heavy enough to suffocate. Brian sat expressionless. Anna's family sat broken. Forensic findings confirmed what no one wanted to imagine. Anna had been killed, her body dismembered, disposed of. The brutality contrasted sharply with the woman people remembered, organized, loving, careful, a mother who planned ahead. The media headlines were relentless, but headlines reduce lives. This story refused to. Because Anna was more than a victim. She was a woman who believed in commitment, who trusted loyalty, who stayed longer than she should have because she believed endurance was love. And that belief cost her everything. Justice is not gentle. Anna's family endured scrutiny. Strangers dissected her life. Online cruelty followed public exposure. But they stood firm. They spoke her name. They refused silence. Because to stay quiet would have meant letting the narrative belong only to the man who destroyed her. Court proceedings dragged on. Pain reopened repeatedly. But truth has a way of surviving pressure. And slowly, inevitably, the system closed in. The verdict came without drama. Guilty. First-degree murder. Life without parole. No cheers, no relief, just finality. Brian was removed from the room. Anna did not return. Justice does not resurrect the dead, but it names the crime. It draws a line. It tells the truth when lies have dominated too long. What survived was Anna's story, her children, her impact, her warning. Anna became more than a tragedy. She became a mirror. This story ends not with fear, but with clarity. If you are listening, trust your instincts. If you are carrying everything alone, that is not love. If silence feels safer than truth, something is wrong. Anna Walshe's life was taken, but her story remains, and justice, while imperfect, spoke her name aloud. That matters, because truth always deserves to be heard.